creators fully take advantage of that. All this means is that TikTok prioritizes the content that they can understand, because it's content that they can show to people when they search something, and because it's content that they can serve to people as soon as they've expressed a relevant interest. So once you understand this, if you're stuck at low views and want to break out, you need to be looking for the categories of content that TikTok are promoting, that TikTok are rewarding because they're heavily searchable, and you need to be optimizing your videos to make them searchable. This is all about TikTok SEO. I could talk about that for 20 minutes. So if you want me to make another video on that, just comment part 2 and I can get that scheduled. Now, the third thing you need to understand, which successful content creators do, is that volume and consistency trump everything. If you're stuck at low views, there are going to be 2 main reasons why. You've not found the content that works for you, and TikTok doesn't think that you're worth pushing out. If you post a lot of content for a long time, I'm talking 1 to 3 times a day for 90 days, that's a formula that we've seen work over and over again, you will have experimented with your content enough to find what format of content breaks you out of low views, and you would have given TikTok all the signals that you possibly can that you are somebody they need to be rewarding. Now, there are so many other things keeping you at low views, like watch time, that's probably the biggest factor, but we do help creators completely break out the low view jail. Just like Susan here, who's over 100,000 followers, but before she came to us, she was trapped at 250 views or below on every single post. Now, if you want to join the community where she learned how to do this, and where she got an account breakdown, and where she got some one-on-one coaching, then just click the link in our bio, and as a reward for staying to the end, here's a promo code that will work for the next 20 people. How often do you need to be posting to get the most amount of views on TikTok? This is applicable for people struggling with low views, people not struggling with low views, old creators, new creators, but we've played around on it a lot with this account with over 155,000 followers, separate accounts we grew and rebranded, hundreds of creators in our community who have experimented with it, and there is one answer of how many times you should be posting if you want to get the most amount of views on TikTok. Of course, it's as much as possible, but that's not realistic for everyone. The more you post, the higher likelihood you have of landing in front of the right people at the right time and a video going viral. The more videos you'll have gaining views for you at the same time, the more you can experiment with your posts to find out exactly what works for you, which if you're struggling with low views, this is your priority. Get out as many posts in as many different variations as you possibly can. Something will land, and that will tell you what kind of videos people want you to create on TikTok. So if you struggle, so post as much as possible. However, if that's not a realistic answer for you, post as much as you can, as long as your video hits a basic checklist of quality, targeting, hooks, engagement techniques. And for some people, they can only get a video a day out like that because of the time it takes. Some people even less. What's important here is that you're showing up consistently. You're not just posting loads then leaving the app for weeks, and using every post you have to tell TikTok explicitly what your content is about. Because if you do this, they understand your account, they understand your videos, and they put you in front of the right people, which is how you get the most views on here. So if you're struggling with low views, me and a handful of TikTok coaches responsible for hundreds of millions of views on here have a free TikTok growth community where we're introducing you to the concepts you need to understand if you want to be successful on here. So just click the link in our bio to access that. Currently we have hundreds of people joining a day, so make sure you're one of the people taking advantage of this. The 300 view jail is not a real thing. If you're constantly stuck at 300 views, there's a reason why. And it's not because TikTok's given you a shadow ban or is suppressing your content. It's down to one key thing. I'll explain what it is and how you can break out of it. So save this if you're stuck at 300 views and you want to break out, and follow for daily TikTok growth content. Now you're stuck at 300 views purely because when new content gets added to the platform, TikTok tests that content with about 300 people. If between those 300 people, the video that's getting tested gets enough watch time, gets enough people watching to the end, and has enough people engaging on the video, only then will that video get more than 300 views. And when this isn't happening, and this isn't happening consistently, there are usually 3 main reasons. First, it's down to the first 3 seconds of your video. If there's a pause before you start speaking, if there are mistakes within the first couple of seconds, if the audio quality isn't good or the visual quality isn't good within the first 3 seconds, you're not going to get people to stop and actually watch your videos. So make sure there's a visual hook happening at the start of your video, which people spot when they're scrolling on their FYP. Then make sure you've got some text on screen when the video starts, giving some information about what the video is about. So if it's relevant to them, they'll actually stick around. And use your first couple of lines of what you say or what happens in the video to give more context and relate to the audience the video is trying to get put in front of. Next, it's usually down to TikTok SEO, because if those 300 people you get pushed out to all the time are 300 people who have interests completely different to what your video is about, then you're never going to break out the 300 view jail. So you want to use TikTok SEO to get your videos categorized, which essentially, if you go into your profile, click on your videos, look at the search bar at the top, if it says find related content, then it's not categorized. But to get your video categorized, you want to identify a keyword or two that you describe your video to be about, that TikTok could see and go, that's what that video is about. And you want to speak this keyword throughout the video, use it in your descriptions, use it in your hashtags. Bonus points here if you're really specific. And the third thing that's usually keeping a lot of people back and keeping them in the 300 view jail is the actual topics of the videos. If you target topics within a niche that are proving to be doing well on TikTok right now, then you're targeting the topics that TikTok are actively searching for and actively rewarding. You can find these for your niche specifically. By using your FYP, if you're engaging within your niche, you'll get a live feed of the kind of videos going viral. By using TikTok search, searching a couple of keywords, seeing what's doing well right now and noting down the topic, and of course using creator search insights. Find anything with a red arrow that's related to the kind of content you make and make plenty pieces of content on that specifically. Now, me and a couple of TikTok coaches responsible for hundreds of millions of views on here have a free TikTok growth community where we're introducing you to the topics you need to understand in order to start growing significantly. So if you want access to that free community, just click the link in our bio and I'll see you over there. Here are 3 things every creator needs to know if they want to be successful on here and they're stuck at low views. And these are the lessons I've learned over years on TikTok, getting this account to over 160,000 followers, helping hundreds of people joining our community a day, and seeing people get over 110,000 followers, over 90,000 followers, over 60,000 followers. So these are important things you need to understand if you want to do well on here. So if you're stuck at low views, make sure you save this so you don't forget what's included and you can break out the low view jail. And make sure you drop a follow for daily TikTok growth content. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that it's not about going viral with every single video. That's just not going to happen. And that's because when you post a video, TikTok will push you out to a group of people. If you've done your TikTok SEO correctly, which I'll come on to later, these will be relevant people to the topic that you've created the video on. However, with the way your video has been created, edited, your personality, the contents of the video, even if you're landing in front of relevant people, there's no guarantee that the next batch of people you get pushed in front of are going to be relevant people who like that specific version of content. So just by look of the draw, some of your videos won't do well. What it's really about is going viral more often. If you can create a viral video every week, and if you're posting 1 to twice a day, so a viral video every 10 to 15 videos, you'd be doing better than most of the content creators on here with hundreds of thousands of followers. So now you know this and you know you need to go viral more often, not with every video. It's your priority to get as many videos out as possible, but it's also your priority